Did you want waffles?
Oh boy. You better go live. You don't you tease me. You give it to me.
Welcome to Warlocks Waffles.
That game of chicken. Who's gonna make it weird first on like live?
If you have ever seen our show before and you're like, I bet I know the sort of energy that they're gonna bring into the episode this morning, buckle your fucking belts. It's a weird ass morning. Junie and I, from like this morning started with me texting, as most mornings do, started with me texting Junie and being like, morning, and then him responding, morning, and then like 45 minutes later when I woke back up, because I did fall asleep immediately after sending morning, was like, I'm up, see you soon. And then we got into the call. Well, that's not true. I got into the call.
No. I made an elaborate breakfast burrito. I spent.
Did you really?
The entire.
I'm fucking jealous. I'm starving.
No, I was like, I remember I messaged you after that. I was like, I'm scarfing down something. I'll be there quick.
Mm-hmm.
I put too much effort into this burrito, right? And then I'm like, okay, I'll restart my computer fresh, and it'll be nice and good. No kinks or quirks from being on or whatever, or settings left over from anything. It'll be real good. And then I don't know, man.
Everything
Twitch was
broke.
being weird. Everything broke.
Twitch
morning.
Was broken. I had to go find. I realized after I had gotten everything set up this morning that last time when we went live, my
years ago when we went live,
1,000 years ago when I went live, last time we went live, there was a issue where the intro just didn't start playing. And so I was like, oh, I should see if I can figure out what's wrong with that. And apparently what's wrong with it is the intro is no longer on my computer. It's just gone. Nowhere to be found. So I had to go hunt down our files in the drive, which is like down in the basement. And you have to take this spiral staircase through a tunnel in the sewers. And then there's just one dark room with a single server in it. And in that server is where we store all of the files, not digitally, just it's a large box that we've hollowed out an old server, and we store individual USB like flash drives in there. And so that's where our intro was, and then I got that, and I came back up and I plugged it into my computer, and then I got it reset up, and it still wasn't working, and then I realized it was because it was playing on a different monitor. But that's beside the point. It is working now. You just watched it. Congratulations. Welcome to the show. This is a TTRPG morning show. I'm sure you've picked that up already. This is gonna be a day.
I have been wanting to change our process for storing files for a long time.
We've talked about it a lot.
Hunter is he's set in his ways. Like, we have to like put dust, like we have to like collect dust to put it on everything to give the aesthetic of like ancientness on things. My allergy, like if I have, heaven forbid, I need to get like something like to re-upload something, because like, oh, I gotta get a mask and wear gloves and protective goggles, because my allergies gonna be a wreck. I gotta make a TikTok.
But
good morning,
Junie. What you fail to bring up is, have we ever had files stolen by a dragon?
No. No,
So
but I'm
seems to
almost
my
mhm.
anti-dragon dust deterrents seem to be working pretty
You're
well.
right, because dragons are
Dragons
famously,
known
like,
allergists.
very super
I
allergic
don't
to
is
dust.
allergist a person
Nope,
with
that
allergies?
nope, an allergist is a doctor or, somebody that treats allergies. You go to an
Dragons
allergist too.
known doctors who treat allergies.
No,
Um,
nope, I don't have the chat, so I can't see how people are flaming you in the chat right now.
it's
Um,
just Rosie saying, "Nope, I'm sweet, and you are wrong, and I'm saying it in the nicest way possible." Hi, Rosie. Welcome to the chat.
she's saying, like, "bitch" out loud, though. It's
Yeah,
just like
if anybody hasn't met Rosie in person, it's wild how much she just aggressively swears at people.
it's
Like
I can't get this image out of my head because it's it's really accurate. Um,
I
what's
I
happening?
I can't commit to that bit. Rosie is the sweetest person in the world, and I refuse to continue this bit. I know I started that bit. I will not
Yeah,
continue
you
it.
did. Yeah, you did. You put us here.
Oh my goodness. Rosie gave me a sticker at PAX Unplugged that's a potion bottle and it has D4s in it. And it's very, very cute. And I found it in my fanny pack the other day and made a mental note to put it on my laptop, and I haven't done that yet. So, future task. Welcome to the stream.
What?
Y'all,
What is?
today's gonna
We
be
had
a
so
day.
good, so
So
good because we got
here's
a topic. It's raining where I'm at. I
it
don't know if it's
is
raining
it
where
is
you are at,
gross
Hunter.
where I'm at. I don't know if
It's
it's
super
technically
gross
raining.
everywhere.
Um, here's the thing. I feel like
Mhm.
we should clarify this up top.
Mhm.
Um, Junie and I have not streamed together enough to rebuild our uh our nonsense barrier since our break. We
Okay.
normally when we stream, we build up sort of a nonsense barrier, a tolerance to the nonsense, if you will, where we decide on a topic and we go, this is what we're going to talk about. And the other person goes, cool, yes. And then we get in and we're like, we've done our nonsense because we see each other all the time. So like we have all of our nonsense already kind of uh out of our system. We've done one show since we've been back from break. And that show was nonsense, but was mostly just like, here's the fun stuff we did at PAX. And not really like getting the wiggles out. And so now it's just Junie and
It's
I
we're
doing
pent up. You're saying we're
this.
pent up. We got a lot. We got a lot of stuff in us we need to get out, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that what this is? Is this an Oops All Bit episode? Oh, is this what's happening? Oh, damn. Yo, we
Surprise
had a
oops all
topic.
bits. We have a topic. It can't be an oops all bits. We have a topic. I want to talk about it. Um, we're gonna talk about dice superstitions. Um, because you just worked at the Norse Foundry booth. I'm sure people
Mm-hmm.
told you about their dice superstitions.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
am somebody who has dice superstitions. I feel like we can get into some good ground here. I just want to set the precedent up front.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be a weird energy.
Okay.
There's a weird energy.
I just want you to know.
In the words
I
of Griffin McElroy, I'm very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today.
okay.
Um,
I want anybody that's like just watching the VOD to just see, like, we're like Junie was here, right? Like, we were both
mhm.
like pretty like standard. And then you see Junie got 45,000% more awake the second he thought this is an Oops All Bit episode, right? You can see I got up, I straightened my everything, I looked around for crap. I was like, what am I going to use? Am I going to use this tissue box? Am I going to use these binoculars? Am I going to use this
What can
exacto?
I
I don't
make a
know.
bit?
But then you're like, no, No.
and you watched
Put
a little bit of Junie's soul die,
you can
as
see you
the
can see the
joy that he thought
deflation.
he
You
was
can
gonna
see the
have.
you can hear the balloon like
Do you want to do an Oops
as
All Bets episode, Junie?
no, no. I want to
Okay.
talk about dice superstitions. They're stupid.
Coming, that's our hot take. Junie thinks all dice superstitions are stupid, and if you have them, you as a person are stupid.
I never said that. I may have thought it,
that's what
but I
history
did not
will
say it
remember.
out loud. Look, I believe in science, and yeah, if you have a shitty dice, like yeah, it might be wrong. It might be imbalanced. There might be some really whatever. It's not mojo. You can have one.
Hey,
You can have one. Like
let
you can have
me
one set at a table at a time. It's
let
fine.
me counter
Mhm.
with sometimes
Mhm.
my dice get an attitude and they need to be taught a lesson.
If I had a nickel for every time Hunter said that something's got an attitude and needs to be taught a lesson, whew,
You'd retire,
whew, my kid would be in college.
which would be
They're
very
two.
impressive
They're
considering
two,
your
yeah.
age.
That's how I'd have enough money to fund like super soldier serum research.
Oh man, welcome to the stream, y'all. So let's dive in. Let's get into this, whatever this is gonna be, right?
Mhm.
Um, this Oops All episode. Um,
Don't say that. Don't say that to appease me. We know what this is. This isn't an oops all bits
no,
episode.
it's
You've
not an Oops
already
All
taken
Bits.
that
It's
from
Oops
me.
All episode. It's not all bits.
Oops all episode. That's
we're
just an
accidentally
episode,
doing
Hunter.
an episode.
That's just a freaking episode. That's just like, oh, we went on, we did the thing, and then we left. It's like, oops, we did a thing? Like, what? Don't you fuck around with me, man. Like, let's just do the stupid show. The stupid dice thing that you talked about.
Oops. Oops All episode. Um
Stupid show.
this is
Talk
gonna be
about this
dumb.
thing.
Let's talk about dice superstitions. Junie, you've already come out as the heel of dice superstitions, where you're like, they don't exist. Anybody who thinks they do is dumb. Do you have any, like, you've said you don't.
Mhm.
Were you lying? Do you have any
I
dice superstition? Do you have anything anything
I do
connected to that?
I do not. I have oh god, this is gonna make me sound so problematic. I have
You know
done
you don't have to say things, right?
I have to say it because I no. It's better to be in front of the problem instead of like trying to react to it. So but I have tried to capitalize on people's dice superstitions and during my aggressive TikTok content wave, I knew how superstitious people were, and I started to commission a friend of mine to make like a D20 supermax prison where it wasn't just a dice jail. It was going to be like a war crimes level prison for D20s where it wasn't just like for the people that were so aggressively like superstitious, like this one's I'm gonna get rid of this one. I was gonna have people send me their D20 so that way I can ritualistically punish them. I knew I didn't care about this. This was dumb, but I
Well,
knew it was like there
you
were gonna
can't
be
be,
people.
as the warden, you can't be emotionally invested.
I was not invested at all. I was just like, I'll do this because I know people were.
Oh
But
man,
like, no, I do not
that's really
have
funny.
anything where I'm like, this is good or bad. I blame it solely on me.
Okay.
I have this I don't know, Catholic guilt that I just can't shake. It's like it's all my fault. I'm the drama.
If my
And
dice roll poorly, it's because
yeah,
I did something
I should
wrong.
have done it differently.
Uh,
I'll have like dice displayed, I'll be like, "Ooh, I
yeah,
want to put this one out,"
yeah,
but
sure.
that's a vanity thing. I don't know if that's a superstition thing.
Mhm.
Um
That's just wanting to show off your pretty math rocks. That's not
yes.
the same thing.
Yes. But
Um,
no, I have not. I don't have anything where I'm like never again or no or blah blah blah.
yeah. Well, I apparently have chosen another topic that is Hunter has opinions and thoughts on this, and Junie is just not nothing.
No, no. I'm here. I love hearing about your things though. So tell me about I don't know what this energy is now. You ever just get mad and you don't even know why anymore? I don't know what this is. I'm not angry at you.
Y'all,
You
we
didn't
gave
do anything.
I gave you a warning at the top of this episode that things were
I
gonna be weird.
the
Uh,
ball was oh
it
god.
welcome. Oh man.
Like a pebble was like a pebble like fell down the side of a ravine and it just kept it just kept skittering more rocks and things and now this is like a mudslide of emotions and rage.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What does it mean? What? Do you ever
Wh-
see like in any like an avalanche? Okay, like
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah,
like
yeah. No,
yeah, I'm just saying it. It's a lot of like this morning was just like oh
there's just a
computer
lot of things
issues,
all
oh
got it.
things, and then it snowballed into now I'm mad at nothing. There's nothing wrong. You asked me a question, I
Hmm.
answered it, and somehow got madder after everything I said.
So from what you're saying, what I gather is that you do
Mhm,
understand the concept of being mad at something that doesn't have any connection to the thing that you're actually mad at. For example, if your dice rolled poorly, and being mad at them for rolling poorly because they had one job and they didn't do it.
mhm. Yeah, I'm not denying that people feel that way, I'm just saying I don't feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm, interesting.
What?
Okay. So you
Flip
have
this giant table. I wanna flip
I'm
this
just
thing.
trying I'm slowly edging Judy towards just absolute rage. Um okay. So you don't have any superstitions.
I do not.
Do you do anything like different dice for different characters or anything like that?
I have. I have done that. I feel like it has been more of an excuse
To get new
to al
dice?
to to allow myself to get new dice to, um or to at least rotate the dice I have.
Sure.
So it's like I have a lot and then I'm like, "Oh, this is what it is. This would be a fun little thematic, something or other."
Mhm.
Um, I think the only weird thing I do is if I'm gonna have, like if I just wanna have, like, a pool of just a bunch of dice, because if I'm like, "Oh, I got spells that are higher," or something like that, I, I like I have a lot of pretty D8s. I just make sure to
Sure.
get, like pick and choose some D8s and stuff like that. But once again, it's a lot of vanity, like, I like the way these sparkle and stuff like that. It's not
Right.
like, "These are gonna roll better."
So like
I've
a
never
for a rogue, you want like dice that are all matching for your sneak attack or like stuff like that.
Yeah. That well, not even matching, just, like, I pick my favorites. I, like, literally,
Mm,
if I get something where I know I'm gonna have to roll more, I just look at whatever is around and I just pick and choose, and then I make the mental note, like, "Please put them back together." You know what I mean? If it's
yeah.
a nicer set, you know what I mean? If it's
Yeah.
just, like, from a bag of a bunch of dice, it's gonna go wherever. They're all, like, resin or whatever, but if
Mhm.
it's, like, I took the time to take, like, oh, these metal ones from these different sets just to, be like, "Alright, there's I'm never gonna see that again," type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but not to the point where like, I have one set, it's called, the Boneyard set from Norse Foundry. That's the one
Mhm.
I like to carry. So
Sure.
I go, "These are
Your
mine."
your daily carry dice set.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Those ones I just like to whatever. The weirdest dice I have are from PAX East. It was, like, in the content creator bag. They're they're rogue dice, but they're all each one is shaped like something. So,
Mm,
like, I think
mhm.
the D12 or the D20 is a barrel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the barrel has, like, two, like, the top part of the barrel has a number, and then the bottom part has another, and it's supposed to be your advantage die too.
Mhm.
A little dagger or a little arrow as the D4. So it's like, okay, so these are all shaped like a thing. So those are like the strangest die that I have.
Right.
All the dice that I have there,
I
but
have a set like that for, I think, a wizard.
mm,
Um, and then I have somewhere, I don't know where it's at. I have a specifically for like lockpick checks. It looks like a lock, and there's like a little lockpick in it, and you spin it. And it
I've seen that. Okay.
spins around on the inside of it, which I think is made by the same people. But yeah, I like those. I got these dice this weekend. We went to the Ren Fair by us has a like a Yuletide festival that they did this year. So we went on Saturday, and I found these. Ooh, almost dropped it. Which are cast iron D6s, um,
Okay.
and are just like very very like heavy, but they've got that like weird cast iron sort of feel to them, and I'm very excited. I like new ones, new dice.
Can I complain
um
about something real fast?
sure.
Completely unrelated.
Yeah.
This is gonna be me beating a dead horse here.
Uh-huh.
This morning we had a lot of technical problems, right?
Uh-huh.
And we're not using the Twitch connection thing to do the show.
Yeah.
We're using VDO Ninja. So you are on my screen to the right of me. And I feel before you're more to the left of me, so I can kind of eyeball my camera more to look at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know the way our overlay is. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm looking into the distance.
Yes, yes, you are.
I know you were just talking about diecast dice. I saw you and I heard you, and I was just like, where the fuck is he? I had to keep doing this because I wanted to look at you here, but
Mm-hmm.
you were over here, or I want to look at you over here, and you're over fucking here. And
I
I
hear.
was just like,
All right.
this is
Give me
this
a
is a
second.
problem no one else has.
There
This
we
is
go.
just me.
I flipped you.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, I know that was the thing to do. I just want to let you know.
It's all good.
I'm
I
working through a lot.
I flipped it.
I'm
I flipped it on the stream, so now you can look at wherever you need to look at, and it should be fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you.
I haven't given up that today's an Oops All Bits episode. It's a secret Oops All Bits. It's just
Oh man,
me doing things the whole
Junie's just
time.
trying to like secretly
Hunt?
slide an Oops All Bits episode in there.
No.
Oh my goodness. So, superstitions.
Superstitions.
Did,
Sometimes I think that if I'm gonna roll something, I need some sort of like I don't know, a mnemonic device or something like that. Like maybe like a little jingle. So what I do is I just start thinking about like if you want an F chord, right? You want to like go like and you want to go like roll these dice and roll them good. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Junie's been trying to find a way to use his piano on a stream for so long.
I'm gonna get it right.
Um, did you hear any
Mhm.
fun superstitions while you were working the Norse Foundry booth?
There were people that were very serious about their dice jails.
Mm-hmm.
That they it's I've seen people that like do like there's like a little dice jail, like literally they'll have there or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I believe, more than one person that said something to the effect of they won't just throw them away,
Mm-hmm.
but their dice jail or where they keep those dice can't be near their other dice,
Ooh, interesting.
as if it will corrupt the rest of them, type of thing. So it's like they will put it in another pocket of their wherever they're keeping everything, it's in another compartment, and when it's done, it's gonna be on the shelf dice jail. It's gonna be somewhere over yonder. It's not
Mhm.
going to be with the rest of the dice that have not done anything wrong. They will completely separate them. And I was like, it's fun. Like
You
I have
you
my own
say
quirks and superstitions. So
Yeah,
like
you're
I'm
saying that,
not
and I'm like,
saying yeah.
I know I have a die somewhere that I put into solitary confinement, and I'm going through my head trying to remember where I put it because it's been a very long time.
You think it's done its time? You think
It
it's done
might
its time in the hole?
it might have done its time. I think it's
You're
in
gonna get
I
you're gonna
think it's in my
uncover it and it's
room.
gonna be like, is the sunlight? Is that the light of oh no.
I promise I'll be good. I think I know where it is. I'm gonna grab it because the dice jail that it is imprisoned in is also very funny, and I do want to show it off.
You're gonna do it right now.
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
in
leave
the
me alone right
I
now.
am going to leave you alone right now to oops all bits yourself into a coma. I'll be back.
This is the dumbest thing he's done. Oh man. Okay. All right. Well, Hunter's left me alone again. And this is something that is just ill-advised. But we're all here for this. So what I'm gonna do is it'll take him a few seconds. So if you're just joining us, I have been in some sort of weird morning delirium fever dream where it's a silly morning. And Hunter, because we need to counterbalance each other, is being more focused, objectively on what we're supposed to be doing. He just said that I'm gonna oops all bits myself into a coma. So what's gonna happen is, uh, I don't know. This is really stupid. The bit is I want to be like just knocked out by the time he gets here, or oh, what if I wasn't here? What if I just wasn't here when he's here when he comes back? I left as well. Oh, he's back. Damn it. Oh, that would have been a good one. Just imagine it. Imagine it. How good it would have been if I did that. That would have been pretty funny. But he's back.
Are you having
Anyway, well,
imaginary bits right now?
yeah, it was the planning of a bit, and then you were back before I could execute it. But oh boy, was it a good one. Uh it was gonna be so good. I would have ruined it so fast by laughing, but it was a doozy. Did you find the thing you were looking
I
for?
did.
Okay. We are all positive that this needs to be really worth it. We are all like, oh yeah, this is gonna be it was a D20, right? It'd be weird if it was like a D6
It would be
or
weird if it was a D6. It is a D20. Let me preface this by letting you
Mhm.
know the crimes for which it was imprisoned.
Damn.
Um,
Mhm.
the crime this D20 was imprisoned for. It killed one of my characters. My character made a save against a spell, failed that save, died. I put that set away, had not used it in a very long time. It was in my
Mhm.
bag. We're at a game with some other friends. They needed to borrow a set of dice. They borrowed that set of dice. It did not roll well for the entirety of that game. That player went down. They had to make death saves. First two death saves, both nat ones.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
imprisoned for crimes against characters.
Okay.
The dice jail that it lives in is this. Let's see if I can get a good look at it.
Is that an Iron Maiden?
It is an Iron Maiden. So the head comes off and the front opens.
My God.
And it is imprisoned in this Iron Maiden.
What
Um,
what kind of it looks like it's not like a normal plasticky D20. Is that like a nice D20?
it's a blue sandstone.
Oh. Oh yeah, you and I just differ on how we treat our dice. I'll tell you that. I would not have put that just alone in a thing.
It had to learn its lesson. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pulling it out and rolling it to see if it's learned its lesson or if it's going back in
No,
jail.
no, no. You have to
I haven't touched it. Give me a second.
oh. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Oh, the emergency crotch cam.
The emergency crotch.
That's for the OnlyFans stream. What is happening right now? You look like you're performing surgery. I don't see anything. I
It's on the
don't.
stream. It is the nat 20. Um,
Okay,
so I'm just saying, sometimes
I knew it.
superstitions work.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask when you let your friend use the dice.
Yeah.
Did you give it to them going? I'm not using these cursed things. You use them, or did you just go? Here's dice.
I had a bunch of sets of dice on me. Those were one of
Hmm.
them, and I was like, "Hey,
Hmm.
choose which ones you want."
Oh,
And
okay,
they chose that set.
okay, all right. Because then I was gonna say it's like, well, you don't want me. You just gonna think I'm gonna set up for failure. Well, I guess I'm just gonna do it again. And then it was just gonna be like that was
No,
just
this was
rebellion and a
this was
cry for help.
not me punishing my dice by sending them to a different player. This was just a random, hey, yeah, you can take that one. But yeah, it served its time. It learned its lesson. Rehabilitated die. I also have this dice jail, um, which is a uh hand forged, and is incredibly heavy, and then it has like little runes like carved into the sides of it.
Is there just like a
Um,
piece of cord just
yeah.
extra? Okay, for when you need to affix your dice jail to yourself.
No, it's because it kept falling and doing damage, and so I had it tied off for a little while, because I would
Oh,
accidentally
this is a
knock it off.
modification and an add-on, not like a
Yes.
feature of the
No,
dice
I
jail in
I
itself.
added this.
Okay.
It would fall off of my table because I would have it like here and I would knock it and it would fall. And so
Okay.
for a while I had
Okay.
it like tied onto the thing so that when it would fall, it would like hit the cord and it wouldn't fall and potentially break my toe because this thing is very heavy. This is just
Okay.
solid metal.
No, no, okay, looks solid and okay, now I understand. I was
It was
really
a safety
confused.
precaution. the
Okay.
first the first time it fell and I heard the dent as it hit the ground, I was like, that will break anything that it falls on. It will not take damage. So now it is safer. Um
Okay.
I've
A
met
power
I've met
move like you
people.
go ahead. There was
No,
lag for a
no, go
second. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was
No, I
leaving
was
this
saying
conversation, so go ahead.
oh, no, I was just saying it seemed like a weird power move where you would like carry it around you like, strap it onto something and if like a die like, oh, a roll with advantage and one of them was low, you would like jangle the dice jail on your is this where you want to go? You don't want to end up here. You don't want to end up over there and you point to like the Iron Maiden over on the shelf and it's
Mhm.
just you hear the wail of like blue sandstone like help me please.
Hey, you forgot about me entirely.
It's been
Yeah, no,
so
it's
long.
it's a safety precaution. It's there to make sure I don't break my toe. Um, I've met people who have very elaborate dice jail setups where they're like, this is an intentionality behind why and how and stuff like that. For me, the dice jails are like more just a reminder to myself not to use those dice, than a like I think it's actually going to do anything. But I I do have some dice, like I don't necessarily believe really strongly in like these dice are cursed. With the exception of one set of dice I have one set of dice that are
Mhm.
cursed.
Okay.
They
Oh,
they are not good dice. They've done bad
okay.
things. The those dice are the first set of dice I ever had. My
Okay.
when my dad taught me how to play, he got me this set of dice. They're black dice with like blue and red speckles all over them, and then blue
Okay.
numbers. And I love them very much. They will always have
This sounds like a complicated relationship.
it's a very complicated
It
relationship.
sounds
But
very complicated.
here's the thing. They were my first set of dice. With my first character, they rolled incredibly. They were the only dice that I ever used for that character because they would roll better than any of my other dice when I was using them for that character.
Mhm.
That those dice in a boss fight rolled like 3 nat 20s in a row. Like they
Okay.
rolled incredibly well for the entirety of me playing that character. Where things went poorly is when I stopped playing that character, and then all of a sudden these dice no longer rolled well. They rolled incredibly poorly, and every other character that I would play with these dice rolled garbage, like dangerously bad. Like the any important save, any important roll, anything like that is absolutely going to fail in the worst way possible. Um, it is spectacular how badly I have rolled with those dice for every character other than my first one. There have been 3 different characters that have been like actually dead because of those dice being unable to roll well. And then another friend of mine has also rolled with those dice and also had a character die. And at one point I used them as like my DM dice for a little while. And they would roll okay for just random stuff, but if it was against a character, if I'm like rolling an attack against a character or something, they would roll incredibly well again. And it was like they were thirsty for character blood, where they were like, we will kill characters. And so my like here's how I know that it wasn't just in my head. Players of mine told me I wasn't allowed to use those dice anymore. Like, I did not incarcerate these dice. My players actively were like, you aren't allowed to use those because they are actively evil when it comes to attacking players, or attacking characters, not players. They never attacked a player. But I ended up getting like a little wooden chest, and putting them in there, and then I brought it to I think PAX East, one of the first ones that I went to, and I had Jerry Holkins sign the inside of the box, and my goal is to also find Will Wheaton at one point and have Will Wheaton sign the inside of the box because both of them are notoriously bad at rolling. And so I'm like, I want to get those people who have their own personal dice curses to sign the inside of the box, and then I'll trap the curse, and just lock it away. Um, every once in a while, if it's a really important boss fight, I do pull those dice out, and we'll use them as the dice for the big boss, because they will roll insanely well for anything that is attacking characters. Um, that's 99% of the time. I'm like, dice curses aren't real. Those are. And also, like, I don't know if you've ever seen like Will Wheaton rolling dice. It is
I've heard, yeah.
impressive how badly he rolls, like supernaturally poorly. When he was on Critical Role as a guest, the cast of Critical Role said afterwards, the cast of Critical Role said afterwards that for like a relatively long amount of time afterwards, they felt like his curse had just lingered on the set,
I remember that, yeah.
because they all were just rolling so poorly. Um, and yeah, sometimes that's all in your head. Sometimes things do seem less in your head. That's all I'm saying. I know people that are like, oh, all of my dice, when I set them out, all of them have to be sitting with the high number up so that the weight settles down into the low number and they like will always roll high.
I know
I
some
know.
people get the bad rolls out first. They
Mm-hmm.
try to like
Oh yeah.
do the preliminary rolls and they roll too high. They're like, no, they're mad that they
Wasted a
wasted.
nat
Yeah,
20. Yeah.
yeah.
I've known a lot of players who have like uh their own little things with that sort of thing. I think for me personally, I like having dice specific to a character. And once that character has been kind of retired, they can go back into like circulation in my dice as long as they aren't a like a particularly important character, like akin to like in sports when they retire a jersey number. Sometimes I'm like, these are Zeitarian's dice. Like I can't roll these for other people. Like these are his, and they will stay that way. Um, but for the most part, I don't have a ton of like I need to do this thing with my dice or anything like that. I knew a person who carried around their dice were in a bag with a rabbit's foot tied to it,
Ooh,
and
whoa.
they would they had a 4-leaf clover that they had put into the bag. They would do all these things of like they need to, if there's ever an eclipse, they would go outside and charge their
Um,
dice in the eclipse.
wait, whoa.
Like
It's
they
the
did
solstice.
they went hard on theirs. But
Ooh.
it really, it's very interesting for me to hear kind of the different superstitions that everybody has. And I think for me, what I take away from dice superstitions is that everybody has their own. There's no like, if you do this thing, your dice will roll better. But some people have things where they're like, if I do this thing, my dice will roll better. And I think part of that is just a like, I I believe my dice will roll better. If I believe my dice will roll better, maybe that energy will help my dice roll better. Part of it is just like a if I think it'll be true. But there's
Manifest it, make it
yeah,
happen. Yeah.
there's also an element of just, if that's what I'm like, if I'm looking for that, I'll find it.
Hmm.
So like if I'm looking for high numbers on my dice because I believe that I've influenced them to roll high numbers, I'm going to see every high number as a validation of that. And I'm going to be paying less attention to the low numbers.
Hmm.
Whereas if I'm more on the like, my dice are going to dice jail, I'm like throwing these dice away sort of thing, then I'm looking for low numbers, and so those low numbers jump out at me more.
Hmm.
I feel like I just talked for a very long time.
No, no. Well, I mean, it was, it made sense, and it wasn't tangenty. You were following this through line. I will say that I did put up a poll during that, asking people if they believe their dice were cursed, and it looks like the number one result so far is I believe in science.
Yeah,
That is currently.
with one vote.
Hey, listen, shut up. I'm just
I
hey,
wonder
hey,
who it
hey,
was.
hey, hey. I'm just saying that you can't argue with the system.
I mean, I
Um,
can.
I guess, I guess you
I'm
yes you
I'm
can.
capable of doing so.
I
Oh,
I
that's
suppose you
weird.
could.
Yes is now winning with 2 votes.
The shit. What can I do to bring this election?
It's almost like when you put up a poll and you're the only one who knows it's there because it
Yeah,
wasn't
I know.
announced. It's almost like your vote would be the only one there. Interesting how that works, huh?
You're lucky I didn't set it for 1 minute. I was this close to putting it for 1 minute and making it so closed out so nobody else could vote. But I was like, nah, that'd be funny. Let's just
You
let
just
it go.
place your vote and immediately close it.
Yeah, it's like with 100% of the vote, it's like it looks
100%
like
of the votes are saying they believe in science.
this is wild. And if you
Uh,
like if you vote otherwise, it means you don't believe in science.
yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about the science side of it, yeah?
Well,
Like
that's what I was gonna say. Have you encountered anything? I've never done like the float a D20 in a
I
thing of
have.
water.
Yeah.
Have you encountered a D20 that I I I don't connect dots well.
Mhm.
I don't put to the like, it's just like, yo, this has been consistently bad
Mhm.
because I usually lean into a bad roll to make
Sure.
the high rolls feel better.
Yeah.
So I never think like, yo, wait a second, this D20 has only rolled blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Um, so I've never like done that. I have only seen one physical like this D20 is like very wrong, and it's the one you showed me at Unplugged this
Oh, my
past week.
bone one?
Yeah, the one that's like literally just not
It's
right. It
it's
is just
it's
not right.
physically incorrect, yeah.
Yeah.
Have I not shown it on stream?
No.
This D20 is made out of buffalo bone, and it has two twos and two ones, and it's missing a 20 and a 10. There's no zero on that two or that one that should be a 20 and a 10. But you can see there's two twos on there. Where's the other one? There's the other one.
That's just wrong.
It's such a
That's
deeply cursed die, and I love it so
mhm.
much. I've
Yeah,
just been
that
sitting here
is
like
just
fiddling
wrong.
with it for like it's my new desk like
But you
fidget.
see, when you showed it to me, I was like, "Oh, this is a gag."
Right.
Right? I was like, "This is funny." And then you're like, "No, you can see where the zeros were supposed to be,
Hmm.
and the zeros didn't get inked on."
Right.
So, for me, it goes from like, "Well, this is just like it's like explaining away a ghost."
Hmm.
I'm just like, "This is mathematically and scientifically proven why this is as such. It
Right.
is now funny, but it is not any way cursed. It's
Sure.
cursed if you
It
give
is
it to
a
somebody without explanation. That's just like, oh, you done messed up. That's man.
it is a fully usable die because the both
Yeah,
the 1 and the 2 where the 10 and the 20 should be are like, oh, like
you
this
can
one I
tell.
can
Yeah,
tell that
yeah,
this one was supposed to be the 20. I can tell that this one is supposed to be the
yeah.
1. So because
But
I
it's
can
not
tell
visibly
that,
like
I
clearly.
could
Yeah, yeah.
roll it and have it be normal.
When did
Um
you get that? Did you get that like on Sunday or Saturday?
Sunday.
That means that it was there for Friday and Saturday, and no
Yes.
one noticed because the
Yes.
person was also surprised when you showed it to them,
It
right?
was their display one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's just like that's why I didn't sell. Like
Right.
it's cursed.
Yeah. No, it had been sitting out there all weekend. Sunday afternoon, I walked over to the booth and picked it up. And I was like, "Oh, this this is wrong."
This is you see what's funny is like I would have like just unless I just saw the zero situation, I would have been like, "Oh, this is funny," and they'd have been like,
Hmm.
"Huh?" Like, well, you guys got this dumb D20. Like you got like a wrong one, I get it.
Yeah.
It's funny that it's like just so wrong.
Oh,
Um
my immediate reaction was, is this intentional? Is this supposed to be the way that it is? It doesn't
mhm.
seem like it should be this way.
Um it'd be cool if there was negative numbers on there. You just start like you draw like where the zero is, you just draw like a little line. -1? This
I
is real
I
messed
rolled
up.
I rolled a -2. How did why?
Why did it do this? Why, Kermit? Why? I'm not proud. I'm not proud of this morning,
That
but
was
I
pretty
am.
good. That
It's
was
yeah.
pretty good.
Anyway,
Oh, I my I like the
I
there's an
found the
old
clip. I found the clip button on the Twitch. I don't use the Twitch stream manager.
mhm,
There's just a big old clip that button,
mhm.
and I'm like, oh, let me hit that a few times. There's random things.
There is a an old YouTube video of the it's a Kermit the Frog as a like kindergarten teacher. And he like sing songs and stuff like that, but it's like he's absolutely horrible. He's like an absolutely horrible teacher. Um
Oh,
and
okay.
and so I remember those videos. They're deeply ingrained in my head. And when I started doing like a Kermit the Frog impression, I realized very quickly that I don't do an impression of Kermit. I do an impression of Kermit from that video.
Okay.
And so my Kermit is always like a little bit wrong. Um, that's what the your Miss Piggy just reminded me of.
Just being a little wrong.
Yeah, just being like it's good, it's recognizable. It's not quite correct. Um,
Can I tell you, this is tangity,
mhm,
but this is how this goes. When I think of Muppets, I think of Sesame Street. I
correct.
think of Sesame Street, I think of Cookie Monster.
Uh-huh.
When I think of Cookie Monster, I think of 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
Hey, you're probably going,
You lost me on that one.
now, I worked in a library for 18 years,
Okay.
and there was one day I walked in to the office, and it was my coworkers, a bunch of librarians, rushing to pause something that they had on a computer. I had walked in on something, and I had was so aware that I had stumbled onto something I had no business being in. I froze at my tracks, and I said, "Do I should I leave? Like, do you need me to, like, just step out?"
Right.
Because I didn't know if it was private or just embarrassing or whatnot. And they looked at each other, and they were like, Just show him. Just show him." And apparently, it was just somebody reading 50 Shades of Grey as Cookie Monster, right?
Okay.
But there's a part where I guess it was so ludicrous that the guy kept breaking.
Mhm.
So, not like it wasn't even like a consistent bit. It was just the text or just a picture of Cookie Monster and the dialogue, but then you hear the dude cracking. Where he's like, and then I took the and then and then it's just like, what should I do? Well, use your mouth, and you just hear him laughing as he's trying to, like, so it becomes Cookie Monster trying to read 50 Shades of Grey, but he's also like a teenage boy that is
Mhm.
just like, this is so funny, they said but, like, he starts laughing. Like, he just starts, like, he can't go through it.
Oh
um
man.
what's today's episode about?
Uh Dice Superstitions.
Okay, yeah. It's easy for us to let our minds pinball between, like, what we relate to things. So
Mhm.
I would never relate like this failed role into something else. But you and other people are better at connected remembering almost like I don't want to say a mental list of like, oh, you done messed up X amount of times. How many times is there a number
Mhm.
where you would go, this dice needs to be punished? Or do you have more of a weight system for the severity of the offense? Do you go, oh, this has been every week? Or do you go, I died because of you?
Yeah, I for me it's a die can fail a roll unlimited number of times. Like I probably have so many dice that I have never rolled a success on and just don't know. Like
Interesting. Okay.
they can fail rolls indefinitely and I will probably never notice. It is when I so like my first set of dice are the reason I know them is that they rolled insanely well and then they turned. And so
It's wild.
there became this expectation that they would roll well. And then they
Okay.
stopped rolling well and then they started rolling actively bad.
I feel so
Um
bad for these dice.
and so then when I was a GM, like when I'm GMing and using those dice and they're rolling really well against my players, Like the players are the ones that were like, these are deeply cursed dice. They named them the character killers. Like they requested that I not use them anymore. That's why they got like locked away. Um, the uh the blue sandstone one, the only reason I have any memory of it is that they like I I died as a character due to a roll with those dice. And I remember which character was using those dice when I used them. And then the player who borrowed those dice, because like if a character dies, characters die. Like it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. I won't blame a die for a failed roll. It's when the pattern develops in my brain that it becomes a, oh, this is a bad thing. So when you go to roll, when the last time I used them, my character died, and then I lend them to a friend and they roll really bad all game. They rolled like many, I think like 3 to 5 nat ones in that like 2 to 3 hour session. And then they're making death saves and they roll 2 death saves, both of them nat ones, instantly dead. Like that's not great.
So
So
this
that's
is a
when
this is
that
a
like
gross
clicks in your head.
so this is a gross oversimplification. What I'm about to say is, but this is cynical Junie, like,
Uh-huh.
but could a gross oversimplification of this be if they fail under pressure, you punish them? And I'm saying pessimistic me, and I know that's a gross
Yeah.
oversimplification, but it sounds like it can fail all day, but if it fails during the Super Bowl twice, you relegate them to like the minor leagues, and you never like you just
Hmm.
they lose their career.
Uh I would say, if I just to keep your same analogy, if I brought like a player to the Super Bowl twice, and both times they threw the ball to the other team, and then
Yeah.
that team won the Super Bowl because of that win, and also they
Hmm.
like broke the leg of one of their teammates for no reason, I probably wouldn't keep them on the team much longer.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
um the I think for me it's a matter of, is this a die that I worry about rolling, or is this a die that when I'm given like, this is a big moment, do I feel like my odds are neutral or negative? Do
Mm,
I think
okay.
that any of my dice that I pick up are going to have an equal chance of like completing this task? Or do I think that if I pick up this one, I will not roll what I need to roll in order to achieve this? That's what I'm like, okay, this die is not uh it's not performing. It's not performing at the level
Okay.
I need it to.
Okay.
But I don't think it's a like, there's very few dice I can think of that like one session happened and I'm like, well,
Hmm.
I'm never using these dice again. It's usually like multiple, especially because I have like dice that are specific to my character, right? So
Hmm.
if I have, these are we'll say Maximus, right? If these are Maximus's dice, um and I am rolling them and I roll really poorly one session, I'll chalk that up to, this has been a bad session of me
It's bad.
rolling.
Yeah.
If it's another session and I'm using those dice and we're still rolling poorly, I'll be like, man, these dice suck. Like I might start using
Mm.
a different set of dice. If it continues in that way, that's where I'm gonna start blaming the dice instead of just being like, I'm unlucky.
I thought about something that it's not a I guess a traditional superstition. And I think it's more of because you said when you use like dice for like as a DM, I will switch up dice for vibe
Hmm.
type of thing where even if it's I don't know what like I'm not like changing the odds or anything like that, how I want it to be felt, I will change the dice.
Sure.
So like that's when I'll use a bigger one. just to even if it's like a non crazy roll, I will use a bigger one to invoke like whenever somebody like at the Norse Foundry booth would pick up like a heavier die,
Mhm.
I would say something where it's just like, oh, that's when you want to roll with authority.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
100%. Because like,
Yeah.
I have these ones that are, made out of a ball bearing, and they're,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
heavy and crazy. This is not something I'm going to roll for, like, a bard casting, like, uh, some bard attack spell. Like, this is something I'm going to roll when I want to hit hard. Um, Whereas I have another set of dice around here somewhere, that is a like prismatic glass set.
Mm.
um and like I would never roll those for my like barbarian in a rage. Like those are not dice for him. um
I'm gonna tell you what I'm googling currently because there is it's just I've never had to think about it this way,
there they are,
and
the goodies.
I needed to define superstition. Excessively a credulous belief in and reverence for supernatural beings, or a widely held but unjustified belief in supernatural causation leading
Hmm.
to a certain So, what would you classify what I described as? Using dice as is it more of a preference? Is wanting to set a tone or a vibe or something like that? Is there a belief in that? I know that I love the feeling of giving players that 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 sinking feeling of like something is happening or whatever, you know what I mean? Of like,
Hmm.
so is it like, would that be considered superstitious? Where it's just like I would create that with this.
I
I'm
don't
using this
think
for that.
I don't think it's necessarily a superstition unless you believe on some level that it will influence that role. So like if you were like, I'm going to I'm playing a Goliath paladin, like I'm gonna hit this thing as hard as I possibly can, and I want to use this like heavy metal die to do it. If you believe that like doing that on some level will change the experience, I think then yeah, I think that's a superstition. Um, but if it's just a like, I want to use this one because I like the feeling of it more, I
Mhm.
don't necessarily think that is. But from what you're saying, I think that having dice that you're like, this is the dice that I use for this thing because it feels correct.
Mhm.
Like that, yeah, that
Yeah, it's a
art,
feel. Yeah,
yeah,
can you
argue,
explain it? You know, is
yeah,
there's no logical like, oh, it's because of this, and you can make arguments all day, but like I know what it's like to just go like, I can't explain this. I
right.
know I do blank. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where what you're gonna tie to and where's your line? You know what I mean? Where is your so I'm just like, no, I'm gonna influence this. It's my fault this did whatever, but then it's just like, well, I need this dice for this though.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I like I don't discredit the whole thing. You know, I'm not like all superstitions are dumb or something like that. But you know,
When it comes to dice superstitions, I think the vast majority of them are there for the person rolling the die. They're
mhm,
there for to make the person who is rolling feel like they've done their part in a purely chance based situation.
mhm,
Um because like I can roll a d20 and it can come up as anything between 1 and 20. Um and there's nothing I can do to change that. Like
mhm,
I can't have a specific rolling style or something like that that is going to guarantee a specific outcome on that die. Um all I can do is ensure that like I feel good about my chances rolling it.
that's what you're in control of. You
Right.
can control that. Yeah.
And so if there are things that are there to help with that. If having them charged in the eclipse and like rolling around in a bag with a 4-leaf clover, and they're all sitting here with their highest number facing up so that they'll settle into the low number. If I only roll any given die once per session, like whatever it's gonna be, if that makes you feel better about the chance of rolling it, then it's a partnership. You have invested into that role. And then if it's not good, you can be like, this is
Yeah.
curse this die, like this die has betrayed me. It gives you a way to take action in the role of like, I'm doing my part to help determine what this purely chance-based thing is, and then also gives you a way out if it goes poorly, so that you don't feel like, oh, I've rolled bad this whole session, I'm bad at D&D, because you can be like, oh, these dice are cursed.
Hmm.
I've had players in the middle of a game on D&D Beyond be like,
Switch
I'm
die. Yeah.
I'm
Switch.
changing my
Yeah.
dice, and they're
Yeah.
changing their virtual dice, and it's like, this makes literally no
Hmm.
difference. Um, but it gives you that, like, that
Or
feeling
or switch or
of,
switching from physical to digital.
yeah,
Yeah.
where the physical dice aren't rolling well, and so they start rolling digitally.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people who are like, yeah, you are freaking cursed, man. Like you
Hmm.
have rolled so many ones this session. Like it's
I've seen some
insane.
cursed digital dice, and that's why I get to the point where I'm just like, it's you, man. It's not the dice. They're digital. They're zeros and ones.
Yeah,
This is you.
yeah.
Uh I was gonna say a it was gonna be like a question and then it turned into a bit and then I vetoed it because this is one of those things where uh tangentially since when I started to start playing and stuff like that, like I learned about safety tools and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and I became much more aware of like creating a safe space and how people can enjoy the game.
Mhm.
So I have a mental like, like I tried to veto certain things where I'm like, this is not cool to say.
Sure.
Even my intent is different. So I was gonna ask something of like, have you seen somebody just do something so and the word I was gonna use was I would say something so stupid or
Mhm.
annoying or something like that that you were just like, can you cut that out or something like that? And then
Sure.
I was thinking about it as you're saying what you were saying, and then it was just like it's almost impossible to like, I have seen like a teenager intentionally like spin their die like a D20, but then
Mhm.
look at me to look like, haha, we have to wait for this to finish.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like he's doing it to be a jerk and to
Mhm.
mess with me type of thing. And then I was just like, yeah, have you ever seen somebody do something really whatever? But then what if there's somebody that's just like, I need that time to breathe? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
somebody doing it not
Mhm.
maliciously. Uh and
Intent is a very important element of that.
Correct. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And the reason I didn't want to ask it in the way of just like, you ever see someone do something stupid is because we like what our lines are different.
Mhm.
And what I think is normal and what I think is whatever is gonna be different if you're like, no, I want to roll in a Beyblade arena because I needs to do 3 rings. I needed to get like a good 3 rotations before it lands because it needs
Yeah.
to get all the wad out. You know what I mean? And it's all about I think the whole thing was is like don't yuck my yum like it's
Mhm.
just like hey this is what works for me
Yeah.
and what makes the game fun for me and I know we are huge on just like we want people to have fun
Yeah.
and sometimes aside from playing the game we're all playing together we're also playing our own little game with
Mhm.
ourselves and you write the rules for that so nobody's going to tell you you're doing your game wrong so
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that a lot. I think kind of in the, like, dice superstitions could almost, there's a level of safety tool there if they're done
Hmm.
right, of like, you're protecting yourself from like feeling that like responsibility for the role if you
Hmm.
feel that way. Um and so yeah, if I
And
think that's a great point.
And
I've
there's teasing stuff,
Sure,
like if I
yeah,
say like, "Oh, I don't do it." But there's a difference between like that, like you're dumb for blank.
right. Yeah, like I've
I
absolutely
joke, but I could never tell somebody it's like you're dumb for taking your property that you feel X type of way and doing what you want with your stuff and
right.
enjoying your game how you want. It's like
Yeah. It,
what? Like
people people should do what makes it the best experience for them.
mhm.
As long as it's not like encroaching on other people's fun or space or anything like that.
Yep.
Like you're like do what makes you feel good about your roles. Um, the one thing that I heard somebody talk about a long time ago was like if you are doing your like your dice rituals and stuff like that and it is somehow making the game worse for other people,
It's impacting everybody else's
that's a problem.
experience. Yeah.
But if it's just like I do these things on my own time, and like when we get to the game, I'm ready to go. That's totally fine. If it's
Mhm.
a like at the beginning of my turn, I'm going to like kiss the die before I roll it. That takes almost no time. If it's a every turn I have to like do a full ritual before I make a roll, you're probably encroaching on other people's time in the game as well. Um, I think for me, an important element to keep in mind is that there is so much of it that we are like most people who like have dice superstitions are aware on some level that they're probably not doing anything. Um, uh, they they might do something. I'm not an expert, but the majority of people are aware. So if you are like making fun of somebody for using them or like poking at those things or something, you need to make sure that it's in good fun, because that way there is like the player doesn't feel like you're attacking them for a thing that they're doing
Mhm.
to like help themselves. I've something that I started doing in my games is if I notice that a player is like you've been rolling garbage. Something that I will do is I, as the GM, have started blaming their dice for it,
Yeah.
and be
Mhm.
like, "Hey, like switch those dice out. Like those dice
Mhm.
are trying to kill you. You gotta use a different set." And then they switch to a different set. And if they continue rolling, I'm like, "Oh man, they've strategized. They're all after you." Like you can, as the GM, you can also lean into those sort of superstitions to help remove some of that um what's the word I'm looking for,
Uh
some of that pressure from the player of like, oh man,
mhm.
I have not done well this session. Is like,
Yeah.
no, you've done great. You haven't rolled well. Like
Yeah.
you are like, fate has decided that you are not going to like do super well this time. And then also leaning into the whole like failing forward idea of like, if something fails, that can be a good part of the story and that can help move things forward in a fun way. So that there isn't that like, oh, if I failed, then like I've done bad and the game is going to be
Uh,
bad because of it.
that that is something I do with like as a DM, I try to tell people because especially with younger people that just assume, oh, low number equal terrible
Hmm.
is I reward people for still role playing, for describing things,
Yep.
for putting the thought and effort into it. And then it is either the low roll is just it didn't go as planned,
Hmm.
something was amiss, or it was just the obstacle was that great,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, like or it was just a chance, so it's like no,
Yep.
your swing broke that column, you swung, you're strong, you didn't do anything wrong, it's just so happens they slipped on a banana or they did
Right.
something to dodge it just the right way. Um,
they have really good armor. They're
yeah,
like exceptionally well
yeah,
trained. Like yeah,
and it doesn't make it feel like it's like, man, I suck. It's like I don't suck. It's just like, oh, things aren't going the right way, type of thing. So
right.
yeah,
It's not that you suck. It's that the other like the thing
yeah,
you're fighting against
mm-hmm,
also doesn't suck. Like
correct.
there's a lot you can do with that to kind of like help play with that. Because
Mm-hmm,
if you just are like, oh, bad roll equals bad roll, and like there's nothing else, and
mm-hmm.
you've just done bad, that's how you end up having people at your table who are like
Not
fudging
happy.
dice rolls or
Oh God, yeah.
are like unhappy with the game and don't want to play anymore or anything like
Mm-hmm,
that, where it's like if I have a player at my table who knows that like if they don't roll well, something horrible and no benefit, like there's no good thing that'll come out of it if they don't roll well, then like they might start
oh yeah.
saying different numbers. They might start like
Mm-hmm,
tipping the die. Like there's a whole slew of it. If they know that like the game is going to be a safe space for them, and if they roll poorly, that's just another part of the story. That's a completely different experience. Um, I know we're over time, so we should wrap up here. But for
it's a new week.
considering how nonsense it started, I
It's
feel like
yeah.
we ended
We
at a
came
good
around.
spot. Um,
We got the stuff out. We got all the nonsense
got our
out.
wiggles out.
Yeah. We have one, two, three, one, two, three, maybe four more episodes this year, maybe five if we did a Christmas special, which I don't know if we're doing. Uh, but we're both looking forward to still getting out some topics that we had for
Hmm.
the year, but also uh talking about our plans for the year and
Yep,
doing it like
for the
and
new year.
you know what I mean? It's not just like get people hype. It's like also to hold ourselves accountable and to like
Hmm.
plan. You know what I mean? We I don't know this. I don't think it's a secret. We don't get as much time as we would like to do the planning outside of this. Like we
Yeah.
this is a big time of us like getting to hang out too. So it's like it's going to be a co-working session. The podcast, the morning show will be a co-working session at some point. But we do still have something else going on because today,
Hmm.
Monday, December 11th, we are going to be some Gerblins, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
You want to give a
Over
little
on
bit
the
on that?
Voctair. Let me grab that link here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
We're getting links, but yeah,
Grabbing a
we're gonna be
link I forgot to grab
some
earlier.
goblins,
Um,
and it's going to be holiday themed.
I have no
I,
idea.
I just know
I
it's a
have little to
Gerblin
no
village.
little to no knowledge of what this game is going to entail. I dropped the link in the chat. But yeah, over on the Voctair, we are going to be doing a little goblin game where both Junie and I will get to play, which is very fun. I'm very excited. I'm playing a character that is an older character of mine that I haven't gotten to play in a bit, and so I'm excited to get to bring them back to the table. But yeah, it'll be high nonsense.
High
So
nonsense. Oh
come
my god.
join us. The last few times that we've played with Cedar, Cedar has been like, "Oh yeah, like I'm a fun nonsense person." And then we get into their games and they're like, "Also, you're all gonna die, and this is the most intense game ever." And so at the end of the last one, we were like,
Mm-hmm.
we want to play some nonsense, and they're like, oh well, December, we'll do some nonsense in December.
Yep.
So we're
8
back.
8
This is
8:30
guaranteed nonsense.
8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Vocters channel. Going to be what's your character's name?
My character's name is Fuege Booyah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was pronounced Fuege.
Yep,
Is it Fuege?
Fuege.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, gotta hit that the fwa.
Mhm.
But yeah, Fuege Booyah is a little goblin child, and
It's so good when you say it all together, though.
it's very fun to
I
say.
feel like I feel like you're gonna be a first last name character type of character, where it's just like, you don't just say their name, you say, like, their
Fuege
whole
Booyah,
name.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fuegebuya.
Yeah, it's just a fun name. The whole reason he's named that is because they're very fun to say together.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we'll be there tonight. What's your character, Junie?
It's a good old Slicky. Uh, Slicky, son of Slick, and their backstory has gotten increasingly more convoluted the
I
more I
believe it.
think about it, and I'm just trying to boil it down to like the one thing, but it anime keeps
Yeah,
coming back into this, and I don't like it, but
Fuege is an adorable little like happy child, and also one of the most tragic backstories I've ever
oh
written for a
no,
character.
oh no.
So I'm sure it won't come up, but it's a tragedy.
I don't have a tragic backstory. It's just literally
Fuege doesn't consider his backstory tragic. He doesn't know most of it.
okay. Okay.
He's a very happy child.
Okay.
But yeah, we will be over on the Vocteris channel tonight. Come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. Otherwise, we will see you on Friday. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Um, Make sure all of your dice are sitting high number up.
Mhm.
Find any dice that you have that need to be punished. Make sure they are punished appropriately. And be on the lookout for your dice to be betraying you, because they're plotting. It's coming. They're going to betray you. It's only a matter of time. We'll see you all on Friday. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, guys.